Imagine leaving home with just one bag. Not knowing if you will return. No job security, no guarantee of safety. You sell something valuable to afford the trip. Maybe an animal, maybe a piece of your family's land. You live out of necessity, out of hunger, out of poverty. And you enter in a country where nobody's expecting you, but where your body already has a place reserved in the deepest underground mines in the world. That was the fate of thousands of Mozambican men who started migrating legally to South Africa at the beginning of the 20th century. Not by choice, but by the necessity imposed by a system bigger than any single man. This is an investigation documentary made with historical rigor, real documents, personal testimonies, and hard data. We are going deep into the truth behind migration, in the story that isn't taught in schools, not covered in newspapers. Welcome to the most ambitious video we have ever made. A video about hope, exploitation, dignity, and who really benefited from it all. It all began with gold. In 1886, when rich veins were discovered in Witwatersrand, South African miners needed labor, a lot of labor, but not just any labor. Black locals were seen as politically dangerous. They were organizing themselves, claiming rights, demanding better wages. So they needed a quick solution, and the solution came quickly. Imported temporary workers from neighboring countries. Mozambican men coming from villages forgotten by God and the state, who signed contracts without knowing, without understanding them, transported like a human cargo, housed like animals, treated like tools. In 1904, the first formal agreement between Portugal and South Africa took effect. Since then, over 1.2 million Mozambicans crossed the border to dig deep into the earth for salaries barely enough to buy shoes. I have an example of a real contract from 1975 signed by Mr. João from Gaza province. His salary was between 8 and 120 rands per month. Today, adjusted with inflation, that would be around 1,100 rands per month. Part of the money was automatically withheld and sent to his wife and children in Mozambique. His contract duration was between 6 to 18 months. At the end, he had to return home. No right to stay in South Africa, no chance to build a life in South Africa. He lived in a mainly only hostel Block C mine compound. Basic food, shared bathrooms, cold showers, prohibition of family visits, locked gates at night. He worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in underground shifts. It wasn't protection. It was control. Mr. João lived in a concrete dormitory with endless rows of beds. No privacy, no future. He worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in the night shifts deep beneath the ground. At the end of the contract, he was deported. But the cycle didn't end there. Years later, his son also took the risk going to South Africa. Listen to me, the mines were over 3 kilometers deeper, temperature above 50 degrees Celsius, humidity constant, toxic dust everywhere, deafening noise. Workers wore basic helmets, thin cotton clothes and leather boots, while digging hundreds of meters below the surface. Many developed silicosis, a lung diseases caused by silica dust inhalation. Others lost hearing due years of exposure to constant noise. When the shift ended, they returned to the hostels. Concrete blocks with rows of beds, shared bathrooms, cold showers, repetitive meals, gates locked at night, no female visitors allowed, total isolation. Those accommodations were prisons disguised as housing. Companies like Anglo-American and Harmony Gold and De Beers earned billions annually thanks to cheap, temporary, and controllable labor. Look at this example here. This is how much money they were making at that moment. Anglo-American was earning more than $10 billion per year. Harmon Gold, more than $4 billion per year. While miners fought for survival, these companies counted profit. The human cost was high, but for the white business owners, the balance was positive. Even after apartheid ended, this model remained alive. It only changed its face. Today, illegal migrants do the same job once done by legal miners. Less protection, more vulnerability. With the end of the formal contracts, many of these men kept coming to South Africa. Illegal migration began. They paid at that time up to 10,000 rands to cross the border with help of the clandestine networks known as Amatongas. They traveled at night through trails, afraid of being arrested. They arrived in South Africa without documents, without rights, without protection. They worked in construction, domestic services, small shops for miserable wages. But still it was worth it, because for many, what they earned in 1 month in South Africa was what they couldn't earn in months back in Mozambique. One of the biggest contributions of Mozambican migrants was the money sent back home. Look at this example here of how much they was sending back home. We corrected the values here according to the inflation. Agricultural, they were sending 100 rands per month. Corrected with the inflation, it is 1.370. Construction, 300 rands per month. With the correction of the inflation, it is 4.110 per month. Informal services, they were sending 150 per month. With the correction today, it is 2.005 per month. That money bought food, medicine, paid for their children's education, rebuilt homes, created support networks. For many, this money changed lives across entire communities. Today, many sons of Mozambican migrants are South African citizens by birth. They speak Zulu, Xhosa, or Afrikaans, even English. They go to school, play football, make local friends, but their parents are still seen as foreigners, illegals, invaders, and they, the children, carry the weight of a divided identity. How do you deal with a land that calls you foreign even though you were born here? Since 1904, Mozambique was under the agreement between the South African government to send legal labor to the mines. After the independence in 1975, these agreements continued. The Mozambican government saw them as a way to reduce internal pressure. Recruiters went directly to villages in Gaza, Maputo, and Inhambane province, offering paid transportation, guaranteed food, shelters, and a salary that seemed too good to refuse. But Mr. João, like many others, did not know what he was signing. And when he entered the country, he didn't come in as a man, he came as a tool. The goal of the white South African state was never to give opportunity. It was to use these men as human tools to extract wealth from the underground, living their own lives even poorer. The South African government beared responsibility, so do mining companies. The Mozambican state indirectly played the role, and local merchants, they profited of informal jobs, exploiting those who arrived tired and hungry. The true responsible for illegal immigration isn't a solid villain. It is a historical and economical rooted system. Listen to Mr. João Matussi's story. Now, Mr. João Matussi was born in 1952 in Gaza province, Mozambique. In 1975, he left home with a single bag, not knowing if he would return. He sold his family's only cow to pay for the travel. He was recruited by a local agent, taken to Carltonville, and housed in a concrete hostel where he slept among 200 other men. He worked 12 hours a day, 6 days a week in the deepest underground mines on earth. At the end of his contract, he was deported, but he came back. Later, his son also took the risk. And so the cycle began again. Many returned to their homes with permanent scars, deafness, silicosis, chronic injuries. No medical or financial support was offered, yet many repeated the journey, year after year, generation after generation. Why, might be your question. Because the dream of a better life still outweighs the fear of death. This isn't just a story of pain, it's also one of hope, resistance, and identity. They are Mozambican youth studying, entrepreneurs building, writing new chapters. Children growing into two cultures, learning to bridge the worlds. But to change the course, we must reorganize. Immigration is not the problem. The issue is how it is managed. We need regional rural development policies, legal integration programs, shared technical education between African countries, respect for roots and hybrid identities. Come a little bit closer. I've got one question for you, maybe 2 or 3. What is life worth? Whose life matters more than another's? What do you do with the thousands of immigrants who now have children born in South Africa? Expel them, integrate them, reform the system. What if, instead of pushing away the poor, Africa united to solve problems at their source? This documentary is just the beginning. If this video reaches over 100,000 views in 10 days, I will personally visit the communities to talk to the immigrants, listen to locals, show the truth behind the hard situation that is being lived in South Africa. The truth needs to come out of the shadows, because this is not a war between peoples. It is a war between dignity and indifference. Yeah, if you made it this far, it means you care. Like, comment, activate the notification bell, share with all of your contacts on your WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to share. This is a story that deserves to be heard, because it is not told in words alone, but in lives. My name is Belezem Soa. It was a pleasure to talk to you in today's video. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Share this one with all of your friends. I'm gone.